What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, I sat down with a veteran of the real estate industry for over 2 decades. He's been a mortgage broker, team leader. He also has spent over a decade as a pastor. He has now built a faith-based community, GSD, Grow Stack Drive, that helps entrepreneurs get to 6, 7, 8, even 9 figures. Welcome to the show, Ken Joslin. Welcome to the show today, Ken. How are you doing?
What's up, my friend? Good to see you, dude.
Yeah, it's been a while. We were at the same event down in South Florida end of last year, right? November. So,
Yeah.
I'm excited to chat today about, in particular, your real estate experience, both on the agent, team leader side, and what you've done with real estate investing as well. Why don't you start, though, by giving the HyperFast audience a little bit on your background and how you got to where you are today. I know it's like an amazing story.
So half of the last 25 years I spent in full-time vocational ministry, pastoring churches, planting churches, and then the other half, top-performing mortgage broker from about '01 till about when the world blew up in '08. I was a #1 wholesale broker, Countrywide SunTrust, 4 years in a row. And then in 2016, went back into the real estate side. Back in the mid-2000s, had a lot of rental properties, flipping houses, all that kind of stuff. And then 2016, went back into the real estate world, was finished 7th out of 3,725 agents. At the time, I was with VPR, year before last, in real estate. And just started our team with EXP, just started the XP just in the last few months. I've already got 4 people on our team. And so we're building a team in Birmingham, Alabama, and in the Atlanta area. So you're doing that. And then I run a brand called Grow Stack Drive, where we do coaching and consulting, high-end mastermind with 7- and 8-figure earners, podcasts, books, the whole 9 yards, dude. Leadership development really is my, that's what I wake up. That's what I wake up and get super stoked about. I love the real estate side, but really on the real estate side for me, I love helping guys who have never made 6 figures before come into real estate and crack that 6-figure mark for the first time.
That's a cool, I think, thing to be able to help people do, because getting someone from 6 to multiple 6 figures or 7 is great, but when you take someone from 30 or 40 and get them to 100, you're changing their life more than taking and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but you're changing their life more than when you take like a 250K earner to $1 million, right? Because there's like a diminishing return of happiness that you get from those extra dollars.
Well, it's just, for me, it really is what drives me out of bed. We help leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. And it's not even just the getting them over 6 figures. But it's when they have that aha light bulb moment of, dude, I got this in me. Like I can do this. And that usually triggers health journey, better relationships, because then they begin to believe in themselves. And what I tell people all the time is it frees them up. When you work for yourself and you've got some vision and passion to do that, and then you start realizing, dude, I can start making some money doing this. Like I can serve families and help families and serve people, and I can serve myself by flipping houses or buying investment property or multifamily, single family, whatever that looks like. But dude, there's nothing like, I tell people this all the time, Dan. I don't care how many commas you have in your bank account or how many zeros. When you lay your head down on your pillow at nighttime, when you've helped other people live their best life and achieve things that they never thought they could do, that fulfillment, you can't put a price tag on.
Yeah. Amen to that, brother. I mean, that's...
I get a little fired up when I start talking about that, bro.
No, that's an amazing feeling, right? And it's kind of like you're helping them catch like a wave or something, right? Like they're we all remember, those of us who've crack 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever the number is. We all remember like that moment where we're like, oh shit, I can do this. I can get to the next level. It's within me. So to to help other people feel that. You know,
Dude, I said, and I tell them all the time, I set a goal when I was doing mortgages in 2001 for my best friend. He was one of the top brokers in the Atlanta area. I was working for Chris, and I set a goal. He's the one that said, dude, set a goal. So I set a goal. When I hit $100,000 this year, I'm going to buy a Rolex. I hit it the second week of June in 2000. It would have been 2002 because I started in like October, November, December with him in 01. June of 2022, I hit $100K for the first time in my life ever. Because I spent a lot of time in ministry. We don't make a lot of money doing that. And I went to the store and bought a Rolex Explorer 2. I'll never forget it. It was $3,300. Dude, if I could only buy a Rolex for $3,300 now, they're like $20,000. It's insane. but I'll never forget that feeling walking in going, I want that watch. This is what I've worked towards. I set this goal. I hit the goal. I remember getting that paycheck from Heritage Home Mortgage and that bad boy saying 101 and some change. When I cracked that $100,000 mark, dude, I felt like, dude, there's nothing I can't accomplish. And now to be able to take that and to be able to help other people experience that same experience I had, dude, it's what it's all about for me.
Well, I think you have a unique perspective on real estate since you were in it in the early 2000s, you know, caught that ride, solid end, and then you came back to real estate, you know, in the last 7 years and have, you know, seen this, particularly in the last couple of years, this huge uptick in prices.
It's insane. It's insane right now, bro.
What's the difference between right now and back then, your first time around? What's your take on that?
I think you value things differently than you did before. I mean, dude, I had 14 or 15 properties. I lost everything in 08. 2.8 million, I think, is what I filed bankruptcy on in 08. 2.8 million or 13, 14 houses. I mean, and I had money in the bank. It's not like I didn't have, you know, $300,000 or $400,000 sitting in the bank and some money in the safe. Man, I was doing well. But, you know, when that happened, I'll never forget, SunTrust called me and they were like, hey, Mr. Joslin, we've got 6 mortgages and you haven't made a payment in like 60 or 80 days or whatever. What's the deal? And I went, super simple. I went from making 50, 60 grand a month to no grand a month because, dude, when it dried up, it dried up literally in the span of about 90 days. That's what people don't understand. Like, I'll never forget, dude, February of 2008, I was sitting at my desk. I had 11 loans that were my deals, not my LOs. These were mine. I would have made $54,000 that month myself, not counting my other 7 or 8 loan officers. I couldn't close any of those deals. And a year before that, because the property values hit, you know, there was so many distressed properties back then, you couldn't get anything to refi because nobody's property values, they dipped so much. I couldn't close any of them. So I think walking through that, Dan, and walking through that season in my life, number one, I learned, dude, I'll never get in debt like I was then. I won't do it. It's like my grandfather growing up. My grandfather went through the Great Depression. The one thing I always remember, he was a factory worker in Michigan, worked at one of the, you know, the auto manufacturing places in Pontiac. One of the things I always remember about my grandfather, he paid cash for everything. He always had cash. He never would go into debt. So I think that's the one thing for me. You learn to appreciate things more now than then. And things don't, I mean, I got a Range Rover. I got some nice watch. It's like, okay, it ain't that. It's just not. And maybe it's because I'm 53 and I'm not, you know, at 40 or 35 to 40. It just doesn't. It's nice, but it just doesn't have the same meaning. If that makes sense. For me, it's more. How can I be a significant leader and help other people experience that, and then walk them through the journey of the elevation of finances and wealth in their life, and handle it the right way.
Hey, hold that thought. Do you want to get 100 tips for free from my best-selling real estate book, The Hyperlocal, HyperFast Real Estate Agent? If you do, go to HyperFastTips.com and you can download 100 of my best tips today. Again, that's HyperFastTips.com. You can download 100 tips on how to grow your business, get more clients, deliver more value to more people. Go to HyperFastTips.com.
What differences with the market do you see, though? Do you think this is the same like irresponsible run up, or do you think there's different factors at play here?
Before it was all. It's funny because you would hear people on TV talk about subprime mortgages. Had nothing to do with subprime. The subprime mortgages, obviously you're not getting a mortgage if your score was 580 to 600. You're not getting a loan that's above 70 to 74% LTV. So they don't care if you go bankrupt or not. Subprime, they love the REO business because they're going to take your property and go make money on it. What crushed us back then was all these My Community deals we were doing, that people were 600 credit score, 2 jobs, $500 down payment, didn't have to be sourced or seasoned, all of those kind of things. And what happened was, and then all the neg-am loans, 3-1, 5-1, 7-1, these people are paying interest only. And then when that 3-year, 5-year note hit, and then all of a sudden it starts tacking P&I on top of it, and the economy started to roll, that's when we saw the snowball effect. Now I think part of it is, the number of homes. I think in the last 10 years, the number of new homes that have been constructed was the lowest in like 75 years in America.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, being your grandfather being a factory worker, like
but that came from, dude. I'm telling you, that came from 07, 08. There's a lot of guys out there that are like, I'm not going to get overextended like I did the last time. So I think there's a little more hesitancy for them to step out like they did. But when I saw that number in the last 6 months, I think it's the lowest number of homes built in the last 10-year period. I think it was 70 or 80 years ago.
Yeah, it was like number. since World War II. I mean, it was it's insane to think about that, right? Like
that's a big number. So obviously there's not a lot of inventory. People are looking that now. We've seen that. That's already started to come to a. I'm not going to say a halt. It's still crazy out there, but it's not like it was. I mean, now I just noticed in the last couple of days. Obviously, I'm in the market a lot. I just noticed in the last couple of days a couple reduced prices. You never saw that 3 months ago or 6 months ago. You didn't see that. You saw somebody make it. We did it. We had 2 properties, dude, that we listed in Georgia. That literally we put them on the market. We had 1 property that we had somebody buy it and never even saw it. They said, hey, can we put a contract? It was coming soon. Can we go ahead and put a contract on the house? We'll give you X over the offering, X over the offer price, the sales price, and we'll pay all the closing costs and we can close it in like 2 weeks. It was insane. And I've never seen that before outside of investment stuff. For just a regular, it's like a $350,000 house in Northeast Georgia, and just a single family residence, just a family wanting to buy it, and that's how the market's been. I think that with the rates going where they're at right now, I was just on the phone with Brian Covey, he's a real good buddy of mine from Loan Depot, he's like a senior vice president. Rates are like 5.5 right now, fluctuating between 5.5 and 6. I think that slowed it down some, but I don't know the values. Gosh, the values in where I'm from in the Georgia area, like that Flowery Branch area where the Falcons headquarters are, that area, dude, the property values have went. When I sold my house 3 years ago, I thought no other house in this subdivision will ever sell for more than I just sold my house. That's why I sold it. It sold about 6 months ago for about $110,000 more than I sold it for. Absolutely, it blew me away.
So you don't think we're gonna go off a cliff like we did back then?
No.
Maybe slow down or take a pause. But we basically have this pent up, or this lack of inventory that's built up for a decade that we have to work through that somehow.
I think the recession, because what we're headed towards is a recession. If you listen to all the people outside of the clown we've got in office right now, or his finance person who goes, "Oh no, this isn't a recession." We're like, "Are you really?"
Or there's no inflation.
No inflation. That's imaginary. Still Donald Trump's fault, right? When you listen, when you see that, but when you listen to the circles that we're in and the people that we listen to, Grant was just on Fox News a couple days ago talking about this. When you see that coming, it's not going to be caused like it was last time. The housing market crash caused that last time.
Right.
This time it's just ignorance in our government and overspending and the stupid shit that they do that's going to cause it. But here's the great thing about it. I don't think the property values are going to go inside. They're not going to dip like they did in 07, 08. But every time this happens, if you have some cash and you have the opportunity and you're in the right relationships, dude, you're going to clean up. It happens. It's a wealth transfer, and it happens every single time.
Yeah, the people that are prepared for it, like you said, have the cash, have the relationships, which that stuff, you have to invest time and money to get,
Huge,
right?
Huge.
But before it happens, like you don't want to, start thinking about those two things when the recession is here or when the correction is here. You need to think about that stuff 5 years ago.
Think about it. Think about it from this standpoint. That what do we do? 1.8 trillion or 1 point whatever trillion dollars just in the United States that we put into the economy since Biden's been in and COVID, and maybe even some of that was Trump's time. Like, and I heard Grant say this a year or so ago, and it's one of the favorite. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it this way. He said, listen, people are talking about scarcity and lack, and there's not enough money. There's literally $1.8 trillion more money in the United States or in circulation now than there was 2 years ago. So the money's out there. You just have to be wise enough and smart enough to go out and get it because it's out there. And you just have to do your due diligence, listen to shows like what you're doing. Dude, you're freaking crushing it, bro. Just being, again, the circles and relationships are important.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with EXP. I think you said you recently moved there, started to build a new team there. Tell us about so
I was
decision and how that's going for you.
I was in the process of getting my broker's license, my real estate broker's license in Georgia and Alabama. I was about halfway, about 60% through the course, and got introduced to a dude named Brent Gove, and who quickly became one of him and his Kathy are dear friends of mine, and he's in my mastermind. He spoke at my conference last year, at my Create conference with John Maxwell and Jesse Itzler and Ed Milet and those guys. Brent, a buddy of mine who's a 10Xer, Johnny Jennings, said, before you finish your broker's license, I want you to come to California and I want you to meet this guy named Brent. This was a little bit over a year ago. Brent's one of the top EXP guys. At the time, I think he had 13 or 14,000 agents in his organization. That's how many that he had recruited and brought over to EXP. Now, Brent was the number one KW agent in California, I think 4 years in a row. So he was doing a ton. And so I never forget, we're sitting there and he flipped his phone. He turned his phone around and he showed it to me. And it was about, I think it was $586,000 that month that he had gotten residual income from agents that he had recruited. Now, I'm about to blow you away. Now, Brent's in my mastermind. He's one of my guys. I've got 5 guys in my circle. Brent's one of them. Gary Brecka. You know Gary well from 10X Health Systems. Gary's one of my dear friends. My buddy Jafari out in L.A. Brian Covey I mentioned earlier. And then my friend Randy Garn, who's best friends with Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. And those 5 guys were in a text thread. Well, Brent sends a thing. Now he has 35,000 agents in his downline. And he's doing over $1 million a month right now in residual income is what he's making. And when I sat down with him a year ago, and I didn't really even get serious about doing EXP then, I stopped doing my broker's license because I didn't need it. I went ahead and joined EXP, I don't know. I didn't do a ton of transactions last year because I've been really focused on my GSD brand. But I knew that I wanted to build that because the model it's insane. I mean, recruiting, my residual last month, I think, was a couple grand, and I've got like 8 agents under me right now. And that's residual money that's coming all the time. I mean, that money doesn't stop. And we're just now, this month, I brought on, and I told you a story earlier. My buddy Chase, who is he was a full-time accountant in the Atlanta area, and he pastored a small church plant, about 100 people. And he's making 70, 75 grand. He came on my team a year ago and did about 70 to 75 grand on real estate, working part-time while he was still working his accounting job. But dude, I'm telling you, So he quit his accounting job a couple of weeks ago and came with me to actually take over the real estate side. So the Ken Joslin team is going to become the Joslin Riley team in the next few weeks. So I brought Chase on to really handle the real estate side. So, and dude, he's and people say, Ken, what do you need to do to be successful in real estate? When I closed a couple years ago, when I finished 7th out of 3,700 agents at VPR in the Atlanta area, Virtual Properties is one of the fastest growing companies in Georgia, and kind of I think that's in a couple of states, a couple other states now. I was sitting with one of my young agents, and I got this big award. It's black tie dinner. I got this big award, and I'm up on the stage with all the people, and there's 2,000 or 3,000 people in this auditorium, and he goes, dude, I want an award like that. How do I get that? And I said, you don't. like you're not going to get that award like right now. It's going to take you some time. And I said, but really, and this is the key to real estate as far as being a residential commercial agent, the key to real estate on that side is having a high EQ, knowing how to take care of people, knowing how to serve families, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to present yourself as a professional, knowing how to lean into and want something for your clients, not from your clients, not looking at your clients as a transaction, but a relationship. And I told him, I said, this was Logan. And I said, Logan, I've been doing this for like 15, 20 years. Part in real estate, part in ministry. But I've just been building relationships and serving and taking care of people, not expecting anything in return. And when you do that, not that you shouldn't expect to make money, because that's why we do what we do. It's not a 501c3. But
right.
when you do that, bro, people are going to want to do business with you because of who you are and the energy you bring and the passion you bring to be able to serve and take care of their family.
Hey, hold that thought for a minute. Do you want to take your real estate business to the next level? If you do, there's no reason to go it alone. Learn from people who've been where you want to go. Carrie and I have sold billions of dollars in real estate. We've netted over 7 figures for 7 years in a row now, and we want to see if you would be a good fit to work for us. We don't work with a lot of people, but we want to give you a chance to get on a free strategy call to see if we can help you get your business to the next level. Go to hyperfastcoach.com and apply for your discovery session today. Again, that's hyperfastcoach.com.
Do you think the EQ, you mentioned EQ, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that is a trait that can be learned or that you can coach?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It definitely is. But you've got to be teachable. I mean, I have 5 core values, and teachable is one of them. We're not only teachable, but we're not just teachable. And the way I say it is teachability. We're not only open to feedback, but we actively pursue feedback. Like, we're constantly going after feedback. How can we get better? What can I do? Dude, I've got like a stack of 4 or 5 books. I'm listening to Alex Hermosi's $1 Million Offer on whatever the app is you listen to books on. Audible. I'm listening. Audible. I just finished Maxwell's 21 Laws for the 1800th time in the last 20 years. You constantly have to be growing. But I think EQ can be learned just like anything else. I think you can change your energy. There's a lot about you can change, and it's a direct result from the people you spend time with. I talk a lot about 3 spheres of relationship on the leadership side: community, circle, corner. Your community is that large group you travel with. For you and I, it's 10X, because we're both fans of Grant. We love what they're doing at 10X. For me, also, it's my GSD community. I have the same thing, just a little bit smaller version, and it's a faith-based community, so it's different. It's different in that I've got high earners, 8-figure guys, 7-figure guys, ton of doctors, ton of top real estate, ton of multifamily syndicators, all that. But it's a faith-based, so it's different. But that's the community side. It's a large group of people where you have the same DNA, same passion, same like-mindedness, and you're moving in the same direction. Your circle, this is one of the most important, is the 10 or 12 people you spend the most time with. Like, who are the people that I'm spending time with? And do you evaluate your circle enough to know if the people in your circle are people that are going to help you get to where you're wanting to go? Not in a usury sense of the word, but am I adding value to them? Are they adding value to me? Iron sharpening iron, Proverbs 27:17. And am I able to become the best version of Dan or the best version of Ken with these 12 people in my life? And then you've got your corner. And that's the one or two guys, or if you're a female, one or two women who have a 10,000-foot view of what's going on in your life, and they know everything about you. Like there's nothing that they don't know about you. So I think when you get those relationship spheres in alignment, bro, there's nothing you can't do. And in those relationship spheres, you can learn things like EQ. You can learn things like energy. You can learn how to, probably my quote that everybody loves the best, you can learn how to want something for people, not from people. And that leans into Zig Ziglar's, my favorite Zig Ziglar quote, if you help enough people get what they want, eventually you're going to get what you want. It's not rocket science, dude. It's really not.
No, I love it. Before we wrap up, I like to end with a HyperFast round. If you're ready for some rapid
Come on,
fire
baby. Shoot.
Q&A.
Fire, my friend.
All right. Biggest piece of advice to a new real estate agent?
Get around real estate agents who are successful and learn how they do it.
What's one of the biggest mistakes you see experienced realtors or salespeople making?
They get complacent.
If you had to start all over and you could only take your knowledge and what you've learned, you couldn't take your connections or your money with you, what's the first thing you'd do?
If I did what Grant did on Undercover Billionaire, I'd find me some shelter. I'd take my $100 bill. I'd find me some shelter. I'd find me a job, and I'd start building relationships with people. I would find who I could serve. What high-level person could I serve and get around them? Because once I'm around them for a while, they're going to see the value, and I'm not going to stay at that level very long.
All right. What are you most likely doing when you're not working on your business?
Working out, hanging with my girls, playing basketball, F45 at the gym. I love the beach. I got a tan right now, you can tell. And hanging with friends, dude. My business, what I do inside of GSD is almost like when I pastored. Like I don't have a time clock. Like I love doing what I'm doing, dude. I absolutely love it.
All right, last one. Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Oh, man, impacting hundreds of thousands of lives. Helping hundreds of thousands of leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. I think what we're doing right now in this space, Dan, I don't know anybody else that's doing what we're doing. With it being faith-based, with us helping guys go from 7 to 8 figure. I got a couple guys. Jay Young's one of them. You may know Jay. He's a big 10Xer. He's an oil and gas guy in Dallas. They'll do $100 million this year in sales. $100 million. They did over $10 million last month. 10.6 or 10.8 million. But helping guys like that with their business, their culture, understand how to be significant and not just chase success, and understand that, man, God's desire is for me to be blessed so I can bless the people around me, and so I can bless people that I may not even know. There's a reason more than just me buying a bigger fill in the blank or buying another fill in the blank, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But when you understand how to live a significant life, and you're really conscious about helping other people become the best version of themselves, bro, you can have it all and lay your head down on the pillow at night and go, that's how you live a day.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Ken, if people want to connect with you or learn more about what you do, how do they do that?
Easy, man. At Ken Joslin on Instagram. You can go to kenjoslinteam.com for our real estate stuff. You can go to Grow Stack Drive, GROW Stack STACK Drive DRIVE.com, and check out what we're doing on the coaching, consulting, and our community side.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. To all of our listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in again. Please remember to share this episode with other people that you think could benefit from it, and we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure and go to hyperfastagent.com to learn about upcoming in-person and online events. And don't forget to share this show with someone that you think could benefit from hearing it, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube or anywhere that you can find podcasts.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. Subscribe to us if you want to make sure you get the latest and greatest HyperFast shows. And remember, we love reviews. Reviews help us bring better and better guests and improve our shows. So give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around to the end. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, click right here. And if you want 100 real estate tips from my best-selling book, click right here to download them instantly. And if you're new to this channel, click below to subscribe.